This is John Walton, and you're listening to the Powerplay Point podcast with the Blue Liner on point and Anna Knox. Here's Wilson, and on the right circle, he scores!
Rebound loose, wild scramble in front, score! Ovechkin with a buzzer beater! It'll count!
And the hat trick tonight, number 21,
Hello, welcome once again to the Powerplay Point podcast. This is your host, the Blue Liner on Point, talking to you live to tape from Glen Burnie, Maryland, and it's a turn the corner towards spring type of day, kind of peaking at 50-ish for temperatures and such. So yeah, getting warmer. If you're like me, that's a good thing because sick of dealing with frost on the windshield. It really starting to get tired of that. That's not fun. Especially if you got a touch of the OCD like I do, and you got that last little thing of speck that you can't get your eye away from, and that's not fun.
So, Gil, are you not one of those drivers that kind of just leaves the top of the car with snow on it? You just brush off the sections that you need.
Well, here's the thing, and that, by the way, of course, is Anna Knox. If you're new to the show, that's the one and only mermaid speaking to you from Centerville, Virginia. If you're listening for the very first time,
which would be weird. Are there new listeners?
We might have a few.
All right. Well, greetings.
We have new joinees to the group as of last week.
That's nice. I did see that. Courtesy
of some old friends of mine. So that it's a possibility. But it's okay. So my car has one of those stupid little hook things on the side. I don't even know why they put them there. It's not a ladder rack. It's not for luggage. I don't know why it's there. These stupid little really long handles on the sides that make it damn near impossible to scrape everything off the top of the roof. Mm-hmm. But trust me, I do my damnedest whenever it snows. And so there's always that enough that's left, but it's always stuffed under whatever those rack things are. Mm-hmm. So I guess they just melt off or blow off on their own. But I tried to get every last little, because that it just pisses me off. It just does.
Okay, I'm the opposite. I'm that a-hole who does drive. I won't let it go like super thick to where it's like gonna, where it's dangerous to the person behind me to get a blanket of snow if I, accelerate or something. But there's times that I'm like, I'm not doing every window, just like enough I can see and whatever. And I'm sure, whatever. I get to point A to point B just fine.
That's actually kind of beneficial if you happen to run out of windshield wiper fluid, mm-hmm. which does happen quite a bit, especially around this time of year. You pull up behind. If you do, what you can do, you pull up behind somebody like yourself, and you wait for a chunk of snow to fly off, and it hits your windshield, and then you're good.
True. So I am capable of being nice.
Yeah. even when you're being not an asshole.
Totally. 100%. See, it's the right intention, just wrong delivery, right?
That's a good way of putting it. Okay, so I feel that pardon me, I kind of feel the need sorry, to update you, the listeners, on the other side of the earbuds, of speakers, what have you, in that here and on Sports on the Hill, kind of mentioned that Mrs. Blue Liner was undergoing some surgery, which she did last Tuesday afternoon. And that I'm proud and happy and thrilled to say was successful. She is resting comfortably.
Good.
And will hopefully be returning to work soon, within the week or so. So yeah, that all went very well. So if you want some of the gory details, basically she was having abdominal issues to the point of being having severe pain there, which caused nausea and blackouts, among other symptoms. Several visits to the GI doctor, couldn't figure out what or why or anything like that. So they decided to put it to the surgery. And so what they did was they did the laparoscopic treatment. They poked a few holes and then snuck the laparoscopic pad in there and blew it all up. So they found out she had some adhesions near her intestines. So the old, well, whatever it is they do, went in there and, I don't know. I wasn't there, so I didn't see what the guy did.
Which is probably a good thing, because then you're already coming up with sound effects that are, Gil. I will not tell you if I have surgery, because I don't know if I want the sound effect. What do you call it? I cannot think today. Sorry, my brain is just totally fried for whatever reason.
Well, you just described a lot of guys in general, for one thing, and a certain group of hockey fans. So,
but I did watch the games. I am proud of them, and I know we're going to talk about it next.
Yep.
And maybe that'll get me a little bit more amped up. But most importantly, I'm thrilled to hear about Jenny's recovery and that she's doing well. That's the most important thing.
Yes, definitely. She's actually was actually up and about the first day. They sent her home. They didn't keep her. Didn't even give her any pain meds.
Damn.
Yeah. So she's. I don't know what it is about, the people in my life. They, you C4, my wife. Oh, we don't need pain meds.
We're badasses.
Okay. Yeah.
I honestly,
if it was me,
I hate how I feel on pain. I mean, ibuprofen, yeah, like that's not the problem. I don't like a muscle relaxer or anything. No, even like I have a total more extreme reaction to like a Benadryl. Like I feel like I am like 100%, I have like a balloon head where I'm just like, woohoo, but not capable. Like when it's like, don't do any heavy lifting or machinery. Yeah, I couldn't even spell machinery. Like, I'm not even, I'm in a whole other realm, and I kind of hate that. Maybe in college I loved it, but now that I'm older, I'm like, oof, this is rough. So, but we just kind of push through.
Yeah, if it was me, I would be like, okay, yeah, whatever you got, just shoot me up with it.
Yep.
Put me in La La Land. I don't care. I don't want to feel a damn thing.
And that's why women have. No, we're not going to get into that.
That's why. We're not going to get into that. But yeah. Well, it's a medical fact that women have a higher pain tolerance.
True.
Overall. That's documented, scientific fact. So
yes,
yeah,
it is.
Not breaking any ground there. So, all right. Speaking of scientific facts and pain, let's get to the on ice action. So there were 3 games. We're actually going to handle this in reverse order because I want to focus on the game that took place last Tuesday. Same day as said surgery against the Devils. We're going to do that one last, going to make that the focus game. Going to go over first the one that took place last night in Sunrise, Florida against the Panthers. 3-2 overtime loss, as we all saw. This was Yeah, this was for me. It was more bitter than coffee that had been sitting there, and the your pet did something unnatural to it. Yeah, that because they had it, they had it in the palm of their freaking hand. They had this game.
They did.
And,
Oh my God. Yeah. Anyhow.
yeah. Well, let's run down the scoring real quick. Kept it 0-0 in the first period, so on to the second. Nick Cousins, his third. Kulikov, Red Montour, 403, gives the Panthers the lead. Chance deflection in front. Milano with his sixth ties it up, his second in 3 games since his return. Sandin and Pacioretty with the assists on that one on the power play at 18:31. And then on to the third, and this is, I thought, because of how it happened and because of the gate crashing, body slamming, we really took it to this team, and Anthony Mantha beat the crap out of Cousins, who was being a jackass
He was
half the
being
game.
an a-hole for sure.
And, so they go on the power play halfway through the period. Tom Wilson finally breaks through for his 13th. He'd been on an extended drought. His 13th, as I said, Strome and Carlson on the assists. Beautiful power play goal. And I'm thinking, all right, because usually when he scores, it ties the game or it ends up being the game winner. So I'm thinking this is the sign, and no, because they could not stay out of the box. And so they tie it up at 16:30. Barkov, his 13th, Verhage, that name again.
Oh, I know.
And Montour again. So off we go into the extra session. And what really, look, I get that some of you out there are like, well, Caps weren't expected to get this far, and they played a great game, and it shouldn't spoil it. But it wasn't just that they lost. It was the way they lost. And all right, so let's just go ahead and recap what happened. Okay, so I'm on the replay, and Sonny Milano is in the zone on his lonesome, trying to do something with the puck. He turns it over, and it goes the other way, ends up on Forsling's stick, and it gets put away because it was a 2-on-1. And this was the time, looking for the time, if the app will let me get the hell out of the video. 3:41 in the extra session. It wasn't just the fact that Milano had turned it over. It was, now look, I happen to have this thing where I notice stuff that other people don't notice. It's a blessing and a curse. I'm not intending to brag about it, because sometimes it's a real pain in the ass, as I mentioned earlier this episode. Okay. But some of you may or may not have noticed that, about, I want to say 20 or 30 seconds, maybe more, before that had happened, the Caps were trying to perform some sort of a line change, because all 3 guys that were out there, Strome, Carlson, and Milano, had been out there quite a while, which you don't want to do in the overtime, because you got less guys out there. I'm not breaking any ground here. I'm not, I shouldn't be blowing anybody's mind here. 3-on-3, you got a hell of a lot more ice to cover, so you get tired really, really quickly. This should be obvious to everybody. So you got to have some sort of fluidity with your manpower and keep the fresh man out at all times as much as possible. Well, John Carlson approached the bench, not to petition a judge or anything, but went to the bench to try and get off for a replacement. And he was waved off. And both Joe Beninati and Craig Laughlin, both Joby and Locker, said as much. Canceled by the bench, refused by the bench. Did anybody else notice that?
I'll be honest, I didn't, but I'm glad you're saying it right now.
Well, okay, so why would you you've got a guy, and the guy, well, all right, let me look it up real fast. He had already, I guarantee that he had played
24 minutes plus.
at least that much. Okay, he ended up playing a grand total of 29 minutes and 21 seconds, counting that shift. So he'd been out there a good 27 minutes of the game already before this. If he says he needs a change, he needs a freaking change.
Right.
Worse than a 3-month-old with a diaper. Come on. And the bench refuses it? I don't know. And I didn't see, okay, I don't know if I got to see the whole press scrum afterward, but I would have hoped that somebody in our media confronted him about it, him being head coach Spencer Carberry, and asked him, well, okay, what the hell happened there? The part of it I saw, I didn't hear any such question. Now, he kind of alluded to, okay, well, we didn't quite manage things. You know, he's being kind of blasé, but also vague about it. But I get that. But okay, point being, the point I'm making here is obviously this team has no freaking clue yet how to close out a game.
Right.
If and when it goes to overtime. So that is a weakness on both, I would say, both the players and the coaching staff. But I just wanted some sort of an explanation as to why that happened. Okay, I mean, it's simple logic. You got a guy who says he's tired. He's your best puck handler. He's the guy that's supposed to make sure it don't get turned over and nothing stupid happens, that they hang on to the puck and the other team doesn't get a chance. He says he's tired. He's played already 29 minutes plus. He needs a change. You don't let him off the ice. And then because you let him off the ice too late and the forwards were also tired, they make a stupid mistake.
Yeah.
And
they're
I'm sorry.
exhausted. I mean, come the fuck on. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I mean, okay. You don't. Maybe he should have made the smart play. Milano should have made the smart play and just pushed it up the ice. Okay, fine. But
I can't put it all on him though.
I'm not gonna.
No, I saw other chirps that were just, people slamming him and why was he on the ice and so on and so on. Hey, you know what? Look at over the last 3 games. He's been impressive. Come on. So no, I don't put it on him. I didn't see the wave off. That's I don't know.
And I'm not going to put it all. I'm not going to put it all on the coaching too. I'm still willing to give them a pass because it's it's the first year. I'm willing to do that still, but all I wanted was an explanation. I don't think we really got one. But so to me, it's fair game to say that as a whole, they don't know how to close out games, and that's a weakness.
Yeah.
And that's something they desperately need to work on. So,
well, it's just circling back to that monotonous 60 minutes of hockey thing. It's like it's not even just 60 minutes. It's like, we consistently aren't giving 100% because some periods are like, holy shit, 110%, that was amazing, and then we poop out, or vice versa, and whatever it is, and then we go into overtime, and this is what happens. But I will say I thoroughly enjoyed this week of Caps hockey.
Oh yeah, there's
I
no
mean, I don't like
question.
the injuries, of course, but
Well, no, and we'll talk about that a little more.
yeah,
There's no question the compete level has never been higher from this team. The togetherness, the team spirit, and it's great to watch. But
yeah,
this one for me, this one botched moment, this one gigantic brain fart just ruined the whole thing for me
yeah.
because you never ever ever want to lose like that.
Yeah,
I-
oh,
If
I agree. I mean, I think I was frustrated, honestly. As a fan, but also I was frustrated for the players, being like, "Shit, really? In overtime on something stupid?" It was just like, "Oh God!" But it's kind of been how it's been all season for those of us who watch them religiously. We have great, and we see chemistry, and then there's injury, and then we have a what the fuck with the line change moments, and then we have an injury, and then another yay, and it's just this roller coaster ride, and they started off great, and we just then kind of yeah.
yeah, yeah, no,
It
that's
could have
pretty
been a
much.
lot worse considering who the team
Well,
is.
right. Well, it could have been, but I kind of had a feeling based on the way they would play that it would be, it would be competitive. And then when they got that power play goal in the middle of the period, you kind of felt like because that usually takes them on to, that gets them to, finish out the game, and
Right.
they just had all kinds of trouble finishing the game, and it's
Well,
you
and
know
not to play devil's advocate, but I will. Um, had to Chuck. Oh, who I hate. Been in the game, do you think it would have been a different score?
It might have. I don't think the compete level would have been less,
Mm-hmm.
but it might have been. Um, it might have resulted in a regulation loss, but I don't think the compete level would have gone down.
Right. I
Um,
mean, I heard, I was, looking social media stuff just to see what people were saying prior to the game that, he was injured in the game before and he wasn't going to be um, on the ice last night or whatever night it was. Yeah, last night. And I was like, yeah, I wonder if it would have been different because he's a physical player. He's such a dick, but he's damn good. And I wonder if it would have changed. Also, not having Oshie, not having Dowd. I mean, just all that fucking clusterfuck. But I think I was just wondering. I was just playing devil's advocate. Like, would the score have been any, not as close if he was on the ice? I don't know.
no, I get that, but it wasn't. I don't think it would have made a whole lot of the end result might have been different, but
Mm-hmm.
as far as the effort, no, I don't think it would have been that would have changed. I
Maybe
think they would have
Mantha would have beat his ass too.
maybe. You
Would have been nice.
never know. But yeah, he's Mantha's definitely rejuvenated in as far as his attitude towards the game, which is great to see.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, last thing I'll say about it is, yeah, I mean, maybe this was just a simple brain fart, but as long as the Caps come away as a group and say, look, we should have won this game,
Mm-hmm.
we're pissed, and they develop a hate to lose mentality because of this, and it makes them fight even harder for this type of game that they end up being part of.
Yeah. And well,
And
hopefully we'll see that drive tomorrow against Ottawa.
it'll be worth it if that's the end result of all this.
100%. I agree.
And so that'll end that. One other thing to quickly mention.
Tom Wilson scoring.
What? That and it's great to see him on take a
Good
central
God.
role in the power play. It's great to see him kind of making space, but I knew he would break through. I wasn't worried about him. I knew he would break through sooner or later.
Oh, of course, of course. But just like I hate whenever there's a statistic and it goes not, it's across, all teams when commentators before the game are like, Ovechkin hasn't scored and blah blah blah, and Tom Wilson, hasn't scored in 14 games. I'm like, oh God, I'm sure he doesn't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. But I mean, and I will say I loved getting messages on the Facebook page last night about being dedicated to, I just love that. Cheryl Ann and a couple others that were like, finally, because I've been a Tommy supporter for the longest, and I always will be. And so whenever I thought 12 or 14 games is way too long, we need to get him back in. And I hope, it continues, especially tomorrow night, and go live with Sports on the Hill.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, what I was going to say was the line change was that for this game ended up with him still staying on the power play unit, but basically he's taking a lesser line role.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to go with Obe Kubel at the top line.
Right.
And for those complaining about that, I would say, but look how much of an effect it had as far as Florida's attack. Did Florida run up and down the ice against the Caps for any significant part of the game? Not really. So I think that played a part. Him being out there on the top line played a part because he's not only got some toughness, he's got some speed too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that played a part in their not being able to run with the game like they did the two other games they played previous.
Right. And also, I mean, just watching him on the ice, I think we were all, the broken nose was horrific. Nobody wanted to see that. And then of course the helmet and everything that he had is probably I'm not going to say disorienting, but it kind of is, it was like,
that stupid fishbowl did not do him any favors.
Yeah. So when they say like, oh, Tom Wilson hasn't scored, I'm like, okay, yeah, but he's wearing this, this globe-sized thing on his head, and it's disorienting. He's not doing what he used to do. I did feel like once he was back with just like the partial shield, he was hesitant on some of the fights. You could tell he was kind of like, shit, I'm not going through this again. However, last night, we're seeing Tommy coming back feeling okay. So I look forward to that. Not so much fighting. I'm not saying that, but just Pain Train coming back 100%. And being that reliable player that we know that he is, especially if we have so many injuries to deal with, let's just focus on, there's nothing you can do about the injuries. There's nothing you can do about it. We are moving forward. This is the roster. These are the lines, and do what you got to do. And that's enough said. We don't need to boo-hoo about who's out with what. There's nothing you can do. Move forward.
Right. And that's his job. That's why he wears the A.
Yep.
A lot of nights, and why he's tabbed to be, the future captain once number 8 retires.
Oh yeah.
So that's what it's all about. So, but yeah, it's I'm sure when he got that goal, he's like, okay, all right, that's out of the way. Fine, I can concentrate on the rest of my game. So,
yep, exactly.
All right, but yeah, bad loss, but you know what? They take away the good from it. Take the good, take the bad.
Facts of life.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's go to the middle game in the week's activities. That would be the one on this past Thursday against Tampa Bay Lightning, the first of the two games down in Florida. 5-3 win for our guys, and as it happened, second straight game for Connor McMichael, scoring 2 goals. Quick rundown of the scoring summary. So first, the guy we mentioned a while ago, Nicholas Aube-Kubel, his 6th. Beck Malenstein on the assist to open the scoring at 2:30 in the first, and then McMichael, his first of two, his 11th of the year. Joel Edmondson, Tommy Wilson, the assists on that one. That's double-digit assists for Wilson, by the way, so he's double digits in goals and assists. So
yay.
He's producing. So. And then Tampa Bay in second period pulled in within one. Hagel his 21st, Kucherov and Brendan Point. It's not polite to point, but it was for the Lightning on this one. And sorry, I got I got TNT in the background, and Paul Bissonnette is pretending to beat up one of the backstage. Oh God. Anyway, so that made it 2-1 at 9:16 in the second. And then Anthony Mantha, his 18th at 12:14. Stroman Oshie on the assist for that one. Nicholas Paul made it 3-2. Old friend Connor Sherry on one of the assists for that one in the third. And then, so this is where the game looked like it was going to get away from the Caps. Let's see. So 24 seconds later, Tyler Mott ties the game, and we had the pleasure of listening to this one since the Four Letter Network was covering it, courtesy of Big John Walton, Ken Sabrin, Ben Raby, and crew on Caps Radio. So Tyler Mott gets his fifth, ties it 24 seconds later, and the assist on that one, Nick Perbix. That sounds like the last name of the worst urologist ever. Wow, would not want him handling things down there. Especially anybody's plumbing. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, I think a lot of us were smacking the forehead and going, "What the actual effing F?" when that all happened. I know I was, because, so 3-1 lead and they blow it. And I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this is the moment they fall apart. Well, turns out no. So who would ride to the rescue but Rasmus Sandin at 15:01, his third of the year. Beautiful high slot shot. Protas and Strome on the assists on that one. With the go-ahead and what turns out to be the game-winning goal. And then Connor McMichael locks it up with an empty net goal, just shy of of a McNugget goal. Tom Wilson, his second assist of the game, and Ovechkin selfishly pushing it to McMichael to make sure he closes out the game. So 5-3 win. I don't know what the hell drugs the official score was on, but initially they did not credit Ovechkin with the assist, which extended his point streak to 10 games. Unfortunately, that would end here. End the game later, the one we just described before this one. But yeah, it was a good game all around. Great comeback, great character win. So this was the one where I got to look at the shift totals. Okay, so I'm trying to remember who. Was there an injury in this game?
I feel like somebody. No, last night.
I kind of feel like somebody was, but
I feel like it too, but I can't.
I don't think there was actually.
Because yesterday was Jensen.
Well, Jensen actually ended up coming back.
Oh no, but I mean he came back. Oh,
he came
out.
Back, but it was actually Mantha that was out for like the last 2 minutes of the regulation, and then didn't come back for overtime. And Dowd was last week, and Oshie was you know what? I think it was Oshie. This is the game where Oshie was.
where he
Yeah,
crawled
that's
off.
right. This was this was the game where Oshie seized up. Now, I don't know if anybody cares for any speculation, but I'll tell you what I think happened. I think he had a really bad back spasm. And I'll tell you how I know, because I get them all the time.
Oh, they're
And
awful.
yeah, they're terrible. They are awful. But I could tell because I saw the same body language that somebody that has that happened to them have on Oshie.
Right. That kind of
It-
dropped to the when he
that
dropped to
kinda-
the ice and the crawl. I was like, oh god, that just looks. That's awful. It's totally debilitating.
Now he did manage to get to his feet
Yeah,
on the ice.
but still, it was
And if you-
it was hard to watch.
It was. Now, but if you notice, while he was on his feet, he was stooped over the whole time, but he was on both feet. He wasn't favoring a side. So that
Mhm.
tells me not a knee, not an ACL, not an Achilles, not some sort of tear
Right.
on his knee or his ankle like some were guessing. No, wasn't anything like that. It was definitely his lower back. And yeah, I think it had just seized up on him so horribly that he couldn't straighten up, to the point where he had to crawl. And he actually sat on the bench for a while. And if you get a chance to see the replay, when he was sitting on the bench, he was fine. But whenever he tried to move, walk about on his feet, he couldn't do it, which tells me, again, back spasm,
bad.
severe back spasm.
Sciatic or something.
Yeah, right. So yeah, severe case of sciatica is possible as well. So it's really, really hard. But if he plays it right, he gets a lot of rest, and the right kind of rest. It takes it easy for, who knows. And here's the other thing: nobody's committing to a timetable. So that kind of tells me, all right, he's possibility to be back next week, or it could be a while longer. But
Mhm.
I don't think this is a career-ending thing. I really don't.
Oh, I don't think so either. It was just awful to watch.
Yeah, and he had the will to come back, and he was definitely fighting it. I think we'll definitely see him again, but I think in my mind it'll be at least a week or so before he's even skating again, much less playing. But again, if he plays that right, takes care of himself, doesn't try to do too much in that first few days, I think he'll be fine, because that's that's how I try to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever that happens to me, and I'm a pudgy 50-year-old guy. He's a 36-year-old hockey player, and still in somewhat of the prime of his career. A little bit different there, but I think he'll be fine. I'm not pulling pulling the panic cord on this just yet. And I think I think it's premature to say, oh, he ought to retire. Like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to play that card.
Who's saying that?
No.
Whatever.
All the people that well, I mean, it is hard to see out there, but it's like, even when you've had an injury history, injuries are a normal part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna go into that too much, but I don't think we've seen the last of Oshie. I really don't. So I say let him take the time he needs, but I think he'll be back at some point. I'm not worried about that. So, but it's definitely a back. It's not a knee. It's not like Achilles or anything like that. Nothing he tore. Just a really bad back spasm, which could put you on your ass. for a while. So that's that's my 2 cents on what happened there. But great character win for this team. They could have just packed it in when they gave up those 2 goals, and in years past they have. And it's another sign that both that they're buying into, the coaching scheme. They're buying into playing for each other. They're coming together as a team. And we'll talk about this as we get closer to the deadline, but I think it would be a mistake to blow up the team as some have advocated. Maybe you trade a piece if you get the right offer. This is what I've been saying. You trade a piece if the offer is just too damn good to pass up. First round pick, quality skater, what have you. Okay, something like that. But you don't just make a deal to make a deal. And frankly, I'm tired of hearing the blow up the team, sell, sell, sell. I'm a little tired of hearing that, because what we saw this week is what the team is capable of. And they've even had people come in and out of the lineup, and they're still managing to pull off wins against quality teams. So again, make the deal only if it's right, but don't make the deal for the sake of making the deal.
Right. I agree.
Okay, so on to our focus game, which was against the New Jersey Devils this past Tuesday, the 20th. And we're going to focus on this game because I think this was actually the best game by far that they played this week, even with shutting down the high-flying Panthers. Speaking of which, you don't want to see a cat fly at you, but mine did when I was a little late in getting him his dinner before we went on, and he didn't scream, he just jumped at me. So yeah, just that thought in my head. Sorry to be distracted. But yeah, if you own a cat, you know what I'm talking about, especially a cat who likes to eat like mine does. But yeah, they shut them down, and that was a very good game, even though they ended up losing. I thought this was the best overall, though. Let's go over the vitals in the summary.
Yep.
Yes, they gave up 39 shots to the Devils, which has a good core of forwards. I still say they're amongst the best in their top 6, maybe not the best, but amongst the best. And you never ever want to do that. But even so, they only managed to give up 2 goals. And that's as much a credit, I think, to the goaltending as it is to the defense as a whole, because if you limit the high danger chances, then that's obviously less of a chance that they have to score. So I think everybody top to bottom deserves some credit. Of course, Charlie, had a great game. 949 save percentage. He nails down 37 to 39. But I think the defense played their part as well.
Absolutely.
So a rundown of the scoring. Connor McMichael, his 9th, 39 seconds in.
How good is he now? I mean, not like just now, but like this little wave he's riding is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that's why he's now on the top line.
Yeah.
And getting some power play time as well, in case anybody's noticed. But yeah, I think he's finally coming into his own. He had something of a drought, but yeah, he's now in double-digit goals after this week. And
well, just his whole demeanor is like he's finally in that fuck yeah, and
he's finally
that's what we needed to see.
He's finally in that zone where he's comfortable in his own skin, out in the ice.
Absolutely.
And that's a great thing to see. And we've never ever seen that with him.
No.
And I got a buddy of mine on Twitter that was like a certain former coach didn't do anything wrong, and I'm going to take him to task on it. I think one of the things he did wrong was not serve the youth very well, and his counterpoint was, well, Connor McMichael played 68 games. Yeah, well, okay, how many minutes did he get in those games? How much ice time was he averaging?
Right.
Okay, I mean, it takes me longer to go to the friggin' bathroom. Okay, so that's not an argument, but sorry, he was not used properly. He was not given a proper chance. So now that he's being used properly and shown the confidence in his ability, he's obviously a lot more, going to do a lot more. Well, it feels more natural to him being out there. He's not, oh God, what do I do in this situation? What do I do here? How do I play this? And that's how it should be for a hockey player. You should just react. And you can see it in his body language and in his demeanor, like you said, Anna, that he's not overthinking things. He's just out there to play. And
that's maturity and yeah,
right. And some of it is maturity. Yeah, but yeah, he's finally given the opportunity and the confidence and given a permanent spot of, hey, look, it doesn't matter what you do, you're getting a chance to play. Wasn't like that before. So, and that's what, again, this is what you're going to get. So, so he opens the scoring, and then it's 1-0 Caps for a while. And then Alexander Holtz, who Joe Bienlocker did mention that he was a first period monster for the Devils. Lo and behold, he gets his 13th. Nemec with his 13th assist, 13-13. No Mockingbird Lane here, 15:06 tie game. So we go to the second. Connor McMichael again, his 10th puts him up 2-1, 4-17 in the second. No further scoring. And then the Caps really broke the game open, 4-10 into the third. Dylan Strome, his 21st, team leading 21st. Ovechkin and Milano, this would be his first game back from the injury. And lo and behold, who should score after that but El Capitano, his 15th, extending his scoring streak at the time. Strome on the assist, making it 4-1. And what would end up be, so this next one, okay, so I got Diane Doyle likes to give us these little anecdotes about, she's really good at ancestry and name history and entomology,
right.
and
Definitely.
Etymology, excuse me, as far as names and all that, origin of names and things like that. And the one of the things she pointed out was on this goal, okay, so it's Michael Scarbosa's first of the year, and first as a Cap in quite a while. I think pretty sure he scored before as a Cap, but first in a while. He was actually on a line with Sonny Milano, who didn't get an assist on the goal, but who effectively started the play, and Max Pacioretty. So you have an all-Italian line, and that's what Diane pointed out. And I made sure to mention this to our consigliere, Chris Levesque, who has, of course, his ancestry is from Italy. His family came over from Italy, if you know him. And he was like, oh, that's so cool. It is cool. So an all-Italian line, I hope they keep them together. And, when I heard that, and this was obviously the fifth goal, so appropriately enough, the fifth goal, which gives you what? 50% off of Papa John's pizza the very next day. But I mean, this goal made me hungry for more than pizza. I wanted some. Well, for dessert, maybe a tiramisu. I wanted chicken marsala, linguine, spaghetti, lasagna, ossobuco, something to give me the little, stick it to your ribs. And I'm, okay, yeah, you get it. But yeah, I didn't know how well Scarbosa would stick, but he's another one I love seeing out there.
Great.
Because I don't know what it is, but he's got this knack of finding the guy, which stands to reason he's one of the assist leaders in the AHL. But he's got this knack of finding the guys, and it was great to see him score. But he knows where the puck is going, so he's out there doing takeaways, and not all of his passes are tape to tape, I'll say, but he's been. I like it.
Impressive. Yeah,
I like what he's done so far.
I do too.
I hope he gets an extended chance. But yeah, this one was pretty good to watch. Pacioretty again on the assist, the secondary assist. But so yeah, this one was delicious. You know what? Let's just go over courtesy of the video here. So the Caps are in their awful blue unis. So they're cycling. Milano sends it to the end boards. Pacioretty digs it out of the corner, finds Carlson, who sees Scarbosa in front of the net. Gee golly willikers. Gee, how do you know where to go when to score? Because he did. He did, and he got it in the net, scooped it, grabs his own rebound, puts it away. And yeah, to me, that's the goal of the week. And not just because it's the pizza goal, but yeah, that symbolizes the hard work necessary. So that made it 5-1. Let's finish out the scoring. Eric Holla at your girly, his 12th, makes it 5-2. And in the magical McNugget minute, Captain Ovechkin gets his 16th and second of the game, making it 6-2 on the power play. Yeah, the funny thing about this one, this was the only power play the Caps got, and they literally got it in the last minute of the game. Makes you wonder what the referees were seeing.
Right.
But different story, different day. In fact, refs called a total of 6 minutes in penalties this game. So, wow. I don't know. I know 4 guys that are hard up for vacation time, I guess. Not a great output shots-wise, and not a great game at the face-off dot. And that's why I think this came down to just general 5-on-5 play, if you notice. So it was little stuff. This is why I'm making this the focus game. Little stuff like steering the puck out of harm's way after a rebound, clearing it when you had to. You look at the shot total and the face-offs, and you think, oh God, they played a horrible game. Sometimes numbers can be a little bit deceiving. You have to watch and pay attention to the on-ice action. And I think a lot of guys did fairly well for themselves. And the fact that Jersey wasn't even much of a threat to score until, well, I mean, late in the first, but they shut them down the second, and which is where most teams get their momentum. So, all right. So previews of coming attractions now that we have gone over the games. So next week, tomorrow night, as Anna said already, got a game against Ottawa Monday night, and C4 is actually going to be in attendance. I think somebody else said they were going. I can't remember who. I thought Diane's a regular season ticket holder, so I'm sure she'll be there. Got a few others that'll be there as well. Sorry, what were you going to say, Anna?
No. I was just glad to hear. I'm glad that C4 can go. I know that she's been housebound for a while, so good for her for going. And I know she'll always send photos and whatever. And Diana's always good for her thorough opinions.
Her takes. Yep.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yep, absolutely. So kudos to her. Thanks for the her information, in case I have not mentioned that. Now, 24 hours later, they go up to Detroit and face the Red Wings. That's a crucial game because they're fighting they're one of the teams they're trying to pass for a wild card spot. 7 o'clock over, good God, pizza all over the place, Little Caesars Arena for that one. And then Caps do not play again in the month of February. And it's March the 1st when they play again, back home at Cap One, 7 o'clock puck drop for a match against the Philadelphia Flyers, division rival, another must-win game. Yeah, when you're this far behind, you got to start your playoff run. So they're in the middle of that for sure. So that I think that this one's going to be the crucial game because I think they match up pretty well, and I think they got a fair chance to win as long as they come with the effort. But we'll have to see. So that one, keep your eye on for sure. Friday night game, and then Sunday they have the game against Arizona at noon or 1 p.m. It's a Kids Day at Cap One. Plan on bringing your kid. They got all kinds of face painting, balloons, all kinds of good stuff for them. That'd be a good game. Bring your kids to Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. there. So that's the games that we'll most likely be covering for next week. And like Anna said, you gotta like the way they're playing. And I think they're finally coming around to what we were hoping they would be as far as being fun to watch. Because again, that Tampa Bay game, that could have turned out really bad. The Florida game could have ended up being bad, really bad. But they stuck with it, and it's great to see. Now, as we get into March, something to watch is for whether or not Caps decide to be sellers and start trading players. We'll get into that more when that comes up, but not just yet. So I think this is a good place to stop. So we'll end it here. Anna, did you have anything you wanted to mention or add?
I did not.
Okay. I'm really, really hungry now for perhaps something Italian, maybe something, I don't know, something right now, maybe at least breadsticks and some zuppa or ensalada or something. Okay, I'm stopping. I'm driving myself crazy here. I'm breaking my diet. Reminds me, I got a visit to the PA coming up, but anyway. All right, so we'll stop it here. Thanks very much for listening once again for this episode, and just keep watching the guys and cheering for them. So this is going to be the Blue Liner on Point signing off for show number 249 for the Mermaid Anna Knox, and reminding you that, I'm not quite the ornithologist, but I do know that just about all birds sing. Well, except for hummingbirds. Today I learned that hummingbirds are just regular birds that, they don't know the words.
Oh,
Hallelujah, and let's go Caps.
go Caps.
This has been another episode of the Powerplay Point podcast. All episodes are available from Apple Podcast, the Podbean app, blueliner77.podbean.com, and now available from Stitcher. Music by Joe McAllister, voiceover by Jeffrey Conkle.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Powerplay Point podcast. Thanks for listening.